Welcome back to NT Coins World, the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of numismatics. Today, we're going to take a closer look at two important Washington quarters, each from different eras but both equally valuable to collectors. We'll be discussing the 1968 Washington quarter and the 1995p Washington quarter, both in fine condition. If you're new to the world of coin collecting or just a fan of discovering hidden treasures in your collection, you're in for a treat. From their historical significance to their value in today's market, these two quarters each tell a unique story. So let's jump right into it. Let's kick things off with the 1968 Washington quarter. This coin was minted during a time of transition in the US coinage system. As the 1960s were winding down, the nation was amidst social, political, and economic changes, which also influenced the coinage produced by the US Mint. The 1968 Washington quarter was one of the last quarters produced with silver content, making it a prized piece for collectors today. In 1965, the US government made a significant decision to reduce the silver content in most circulating coins, but the 1968 Washington quarter still contained 40% silver. This makes the coin especially valuable today, as silver prices have increased substantially over time. In fine condition, the 1968 Washington quarter typically shows moderate wear, meaning the main details of George Washington's portrait on the obverse are still visible, and the reverse eagle design retains its distinct features, though they are somewhat worn. The 1968 Washington quarter features the portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has remained virtually unchanged since 1932. The reverse features a majestic eagle perched on an olive branch, clutching arrows, symbolizing peace and military readiness. This iconic design has stood the test of time, remaining an enduring symbol of the United States and its values. When it comes to value, a 1968 Washington quarter in fine condition usually sells for around $3 to $5 due to its silver content, but this is just the base value. The true value of the coin can go up significantly if you happen to find a variety or an error in the coin. For example, 1968 Washington quarters may have slight minting errors like doubling or die cracks, which could increase the coin's value. Depending on the error, these coins could fetch anywhere from $50 to $70 or more. One key factor that increases the desirability of these coins is the overall rarity of certain mintage errors. Coins from this era, particularly the 1968 quarter, were produced in large quantities, but with the presence of any minting irregularities, the market value could rise drastically. Keep in mind that a coin in fine condition generally has moderate wear and tear, but the overall detail is still clear and visible, making it a desirable piece for collectors. Additionally, if you manage to find a 1968 Washington quarter that has been graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, it could bring in a premium. Well-preserved specimens with high grades can reach prices upwards of $100 or more, especially if the coin is in near mint or uncirculated condition. In summary, the 1968 Washington quarter is a coin with both historical and financial significance. Its silver content, historical context, and potential for minting errors make it a key coin to watch in the Washington quarter series. If you're holding on to one of these quarters in fine condition, you've got a piece of US history that could be worth more than you might expect. The second coin. Now let's shift gears and take a look at the 1995p Washington quarter. The 1995p coin comes from a much more recent era compared to the 1968, but it's still an important part of the Washington quarter series. Minted during a period of modernized coinage, the 1995p Washington quarter is a great example of how coinage design and production techniques have evolved in the late 20th century. The 1995p Washington quarter features the same John Flanagan portrait of George Washington that has graced quarters since 1932. However, unlike its silver predecessors, the 1995p quarter was struck in copper-nickel alloy which has become the standard for most US coinage today. This transition to base metals made the 1995 P quarter much less valuable in terms of its intrinsic metal content, but that doesn't mean it isn't valuable to collectors, especially those focusing on the Washington Quarter series or looking for specific mint marks and years. In fine condition, the 1995 P Washington Quarter will exhibit moderate wear. The key details of Washington's profile and the eagle on the reverse will be present, but may have a slightly worn appearance. The coin's value in fine condition is typically in the $3 to $5 range, with the potential to increase slightly based on factors like the coin's grade or any minting errors that might be present. Speaking of minting errors, the 1995 P Washington Quarter is known to have a few unique varieties and error types that can make it more valuable to collectors. Some 1995 P quarters have been found with slight doubling on certain parts of the design, particularly on the obverse. These are known as doubled die errors and are often highly sought after by collectors. A 1995 P Washington Quarter with a doubled die could fetch anywhere from $50 to $100 or even more, depending on the severity of the error. Another important point to consider with the 1995 P quarter is its role in the broader context of Washington quarters. The US Mint had been striking quarters for many years. By the time 1995 rolled around, and by this point, most people were familiar with the basic design of the coin. However, collectors who are attempting to complete their sets often search for these modern examples to fill the gaps in their collections. While the 1995 P Washington Quarter may not be as rare as some of the earlier years in the series, it's still valuable to collectors due to its place in the larger narrative of Washington Quarters. Additionally, for any collectors looking to add higher-grade examples to their portfolios, a 1995 P Washington Quarter in near mint or uncirculated condition can be a valuable piece. These coins may fetch $10 to $15, and the prices can go higher for exceptional specimens that have been professionally graded and certified. To wrap things up, while the 1995 P Washington Quarter is part of a much more recent mintage, its place in the series and the potential for errors make it a coin worth keeping an eye on. If you have one of these quarters in fine condition, you're holding on to a piece of modern US history that could become more valuable over time, especially if it contains any unique features like minting errors. So there you have it, folks. Two very different yet equally fascinating Washington quarters. The 1968 Washington Quarter from the tail end of the silver era and the 1995 P Washington Quarter, minted in copper nickel, each have their unique characteristics that make them valuable in the world of coin collecting. Whether you're drawn to the historical significance of the silver 1968 quarter or the potential for error varieties in the 1995 P, both coins have a special place in the market. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into these Washington quarters, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And as always, let us know in the comments if you've found any of these quarters in your own collection or if you have any questions about other coins you'd like us to cover. Until next time, happy collecting.